Hey everyone, it's your boy zxephin back here with another comic book review. This time we're going to do an entire series, Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. First thing off the bat, I can tell you right now, if you are a parent, heed the parental advisory, please. This is not a series for kids. Of course, every child is different. You know your children better than anybody else, so you know what they can handle, what they can be exposed to. But my recommendation is young kids should not read this. I don't care if they love Deadpool and they've seen him in the Spider-Man cartoon series. This is more in line with the movie Deadpool. Not in the sense that it's Ryan Reynolds running around, but in the sense that it is much more cruder, much more violent Deadpool than what kids might see in a cartoon. Anyway, first thing off the bat, the covers, at least the variant covers for this series, are phenomenal. This is the only regular cover I ended up getting. I instead opted to get the variant covers for this series because they're way more interesting. I mean, look at that stuff. It's number one. I mean, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And they're all different in their own way. And that's a fun cover. The series overall isn't that long. It's 5 issues. In my opinion, it needed more. It needed probably to be 8 issues, at least, because the whole story was very rushed. That's not to say it's bad. It was just very rushed. There was a lot of information being crammed in a very short amount of time, and it probably could have stood to have the breathing room to actually tell it a little bit better. Considering that, the writers and the artists did quite a good job. There's a lot of interesting things that I typically will hate in most comic books. This series did really well. I believe the writer, again, was Cullen Bunn. He did the Venomverse series that I recently reviewed, and he knocked it out of the park. All the characters sound like the characters they're supposed to sound like, and that's big for me. And I've since looked him up and learned a lot more about him. So he's done quite a lot of work for Marvel over the years, and I think that really shows. He's really familiar with a lot of different characters. This series is unrelated, I think, to the initial Deadpool Kill series. The only thing in common is he's killing a bunch of people again. But it's really good. They do something that I tend to like, because for those people who haven't been reading comics their entire life, like me, I've only been doing it for the past few years. Truly, I mean, I've enjoyed comic books on and off, but I've only been a serious reader for the last probably 2 or 3 years. This sort of thing where you tell us who it is, simply putting words at the top next to the characters. That is great, because you may be like, I don't know who this is based on the look, but it's Rogue. Okay, I know Rogue. I've seen the X-Men movies, whatever. I don't know who Synapse is. But again, if you're interested in Synapse, if this looks like a cool character to you, you can look it up. I like that they put the names in there. That's really smart. The series also does something that, like I said before, I typically don't like, where they change up the art. However, in this case, it's the proper usage of a technique like that, because Deadpool believes he's in these various different scenarios. And so this is what he's seeing. He thinks he's fighting dinosaurs and mummies and a cactus, I think. Yeah, I mean, so snarky raptor cheetah. I mean, this is great. And so when he's lost in his own mind, they switch to a different art style. And I think that's really good use of that kind of technique. Again, I promise I did not pick up this book because Gwenpool is in it. I've mentioned before she's my favorite character. I didn't know she was going to be in this. I was really excited to find out. But again, she sounds like herself. Red Skull sounds like himself. Punisher and Moon Knight sound like themselves. Cullen does a really fantastic job. Again, the art is really good, I think, and they appropriately use different art styles at the correct times to really convey kind of what Deadpool is going through and what he's seen. And again, like I said, it's very morbid, it's very graphic. And the change from back and forth of like what's actually happening versus what Deadpool thinks is happening. It's dark to light to dark to light. It's an interesting interplay, and it just kind of makes for a fun series. Again, it just needed more time, this series. You know, because Deadpool's got to go from killing no one in the first book to killing everyone in the last book. There are a lot of characters out there, and 5 issues is not, in my opinion, enough time to successfully do that. That said, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good series. And I think it actually, now that all the issues are out, I think it works better being able to have all the issues back to back and read back to back because of how the story flows. You get a little lost having to wait for the next issue to come out. There was a lot of times I had to go back and skim back over and read because, again, they're conveying a lot of information in a short amount of time. And so you constantly have to go back and have a refresher. So my recommendation is either pick up all 5 issues if this is something you're interested in, or pick up the trade paperback. That's going to be the easiest way to read this series, and I think that's the way you would be happiest reading it. I don't really have a rating system again, but if I had to say, I'd give it a 3.5 out of 5. Again, it's not the greatest thing I've ever read, but it is way more interesting than a lot of stuff that Marvel's doing right now. And if you are old enough to read it, it is a fun read. It's just always interesting to be inside Deadpool's head. Anyway, if you enjoyed my review, hit the like button. Feel free to subscribe, share the video, and if you didn't, maybe come back in the future and see if you like something else, or just never come back. That's perfectly fine too. I just do this for fun. I don't even know if anybody ever watches these videos. But yeah, I will see you guys later in the next review. Bye-bye.